Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm playing with China stuff again. Yes, I know I already made a video about stuff from China, and I promise this is the last one for a while. But, well, as you know, sometimes nobody calls, nobody reacts, and suddenly everybody comes at the same time, and that's another product from PCBWay. But you may not expect that, because it has nothing to do with PCBs, well, except it's a tool for soldering. It's a soldering station. That's some papers. And in fact, it's this one. And I accepted this because it is special. First of all, it's a wireless soldering station, no wires to the soldering iron, and it doesn't have a battery. No, it has a supercapacitor, or to be more precise, it has a hybrid supercapacitor inside. That is a supercapacitor with a little bit of lithium inside, so it's between a lithium battery and a supercapacitor. It has more capacity than a capacitor, but less than a lithium battery. Okay, let's look inside. So the package is pretty neat here, almost packed like an iPhone or something like that. We do have a soldering pen. We also have a soldering tip that goes in here. We have a little box with an USB-C cable. That makes sense, because we need a little bit more power than the usual 5 volt, 2 amps or 1 amp or whatever. We have a tray with a sponge, and we of course have the base station here with a tiny little display, a knob, 2 buttons, and some foil to remove. It already looks better now. Okay, we have here an USB-C connector, and that's the first thing I actually like. We can mount this solder. Oops, sorry. Everything falls apart, but that's when you hold it upside down. My fault. So we can mount it here, like so. But we can also remove these tabs here, left and right. And if we want, we can mount it here, or of course here. Or we can buy 2 more, and we have 3 sponge pads. Or I don't know if there are any extensions to mount on this. Maybe we have to check the website from PCBWay. They have more tools than only that. So the material, I'm not entirely sure, but it feels like aluminum here. It's cold, it's hard. I don't think it's plastic. No, it doesn't feel like plastic. So you have an aluminum body. I don't want to scratch it to see it exactly, so because that's one of the things I want to keep. But I will definitively attach this sponge. Okay, and that's how it looks when it's fully assembled. Let's give some water here. Oh, that expands quite a bit. Okay. Not too much water. We don't want to swim with our soldering iron. It just needs to be wet. So we connect the USB. The only downside here is you need a USB-C power supply that is pretty big, because the power consumption of the Iron is about 40 watts. So I bought a 100 watt power supply, which has its own cable, so I don't need that. Maybe that's a little bit overkill, but the fact is you don't get the power supply, you have to supply that for yourself. By the way, there is this magnetic cover here, and you also have an USB connector here to charge the capacitor inside directly. But of course there are also charging contacts here too, and that charges as soon as the pen here is in the station. Let's have a look on the user interface here. So this is, I think it's an OLED display, and if you see a flicker, that's the camera. The OLED display is absolutely flicker free, so no problem with that. We have two buttons, A and B. We have this rotary thing, and if we press A, we will start heating, and if we press B, there are some settings. So the work temperature is 100 Celsius. That's a little bit low. I'm setting it. I've set that back to 100 because I had a problem with the charger. So I thought with a lower temperature it will charge a little bit faster, but I just needed a stronger power supply. So 310, that's okay. Let's see. Preheat temperature 100. I think that's the temperature it always keeps. Sleep temperature is also 100, so after a while, if you don't use the soldering iron, it goes back to 100 degrees Celsius. So, by the way, you can also switch it to Fahrenheit if you like. Then we have the sleep time. After 300 seconds, it goes back with the temperature. Idle time. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is, so yes, I should read the manual. Okay. Unit, we have centigrade or Fahrenheit, which is selectable by this rotary button, so I keep it on Celsius. Step temperature step, you can set it. If you turn the button, it will go in 5-degree steps instead of 1-degree steps. Makes everything a little bit faster. And by the way, who needs 316 degrees exactly? Okay, what else do we have? Backlight, okay, it's on 5. We can turn that back. Yes, the display gets darker. Oh, we can even crank it up to 10. So 5 is okay. Then we have software and hardware versions, and we are around. Let's press heating, and you see the power goes up. And the temperature goes up, and you also see the capacitor is fully charged. And it's charging, and it has Bluetooth. Yeah, because if you disconnect that, you can still change temperature, and your soldering iron will do exactly what you want, and they communicate through Bluetooth. So that's another novelty. I never had a Bluetooth soldering iron. I wouldn't wonder if there is actually a Bluetooth app for your smartphone. I don't know. I don't think so, but these two communicate with Bluetooth. Oh, I hit the camera. We also have a green light here that tells us that I think the battery is okay. So one thing, if you press the power button 3 times, it should theoretically turn off. Ah yes, now it did. So we see the power went back. We don't have the display here. We still have a display here that tells us the actual temperature. Let me see if that comes down, or if that is just the set temperature. Well, I think it's the set temperature here. You see also 20 volts. That's the input from the power supply. USB-C can go up to 20 volts and a couple of amps, so that's certainly enough for this station here. Yes, the LED here is off. And if I press it again, so I press A. No, maybe I reinsert it here. It does Bluetooth kind of. Okay, now it's connecting. Maybe press the button. Hello. Maybe I press it a little bit longer. What happens then? Have I already broken it? No, I don't think so. Hello, wake up. I want to solder. It is charging. No. Yes. No. It's going to 100. Why that? Now it's going up. Okay, again, read the manual and then you know what you're doing. Maybe it's better with this. Normally I like stuff where I don't have to read the manual, that goes intuitively. But, well, I think with this, it's better to read it. By the way, the manual is, let me see that. It is in Chinese, English and Russian, I think. And at least the English part is really good for a Chinese manual, so they actually hired someone who speaks the language. And yeah, it's everything inside here. How you connect this sponge tray indicator, what the LED means, power on and off. Okay, standby, Bluetooth connection and disconnect. Okay, menu settings, heating and temperature configuration. There are different tips, so you can have wider or, yes, bigger tips. That's okay. Yeah, we don't need that at the moment, but you know what? Let's have a look inside. Another good feature here is, even if the tip is hot, yeah, it's still hot, but you can grab it here and change it for another tip, no problem. Here it's not hot, even if everything is made of metal, but yeah, it's a good insulated thing. Yeah, you hear it. So, how is that working? First of all, take that away and unplug the power. That's probably also a good idea. Then there are no screws, I guess. I need my knife. What would MacGyver do without his Swiss Army knife? Okay, yes, that comes off quite easily. Then there is some kind of hidden screw. It looks like a little cover here. Let's see if that comes out. Yes. There is a screw. Actually, yes. Screwdriver. Okay, it's a machine thread screw, no plastic thread or wood thread or whatever. And I guess we have to split that also. Oh yeah. Oh, careful, there is a supercap inside. Yep, I think that should do the trick. Oh yeah. Ooh, boy. Careful. So that's the inside. Looks pretty nice. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we have a large supercapacitor, which is interestingly not soldered to the board, but it has screw terminals here. I don't know why they made that. Probably because these capacitors are a little bit sensitive of heat, so they probably didn't want any risk, take any risk, and screwed it down. Okay, what is this? So that's the, oh, we are off camera. We have these two metal contacts. That's the charger, goes here, so that's probably the charging circuit. Goes around the corner and underneath the green board, which has here a, that's the connector for the tip. It's sort of like a stereo 3.5 millimeter jacks connector. Then we have a big DC converter that converts the power from the capacitor to the soldering iron. And I don't see any Bluetooth. Here is the charge connector, USB-C. Here goes with a flat cable. And probably, oh yeah, you can probably use that for firmware upgrades, because if you only connect the base station, there's no way. Well, there is Bluetooth, of course. I don't know if they can do that. It's hanging a little bit around here. There is also, they also have a temperature sensor here. The red wire here goes back here. That looks like a temperature probe. And we have another board down below. I don't know if you can see that. So I don't think I will take this further apart, because I really fear that I rip off some of these flat cables. I'm not sure if this is a clever solution, so that flexible board goes directly above these screw heads. Well, I hope there is enough insulation around. Otherwise, we would short the capacitor, and that's certainly not a good idea. By the way, I wrote down some data about this capacitor. Yes, just excuse my scribbling here. So the type is LIC 1840. I think that's the measure, like lithium batteries, 18 millimeter diameter, 40 millimeters long. Yes, that's about that. Q3R8757. and it's from a company called CDA, and it's of course a supercap or a hybrid capacitor. So if you search for CDA supercaps, you'll find the website and you go to the hybrid capacitor section, look for the LIC types, and you find that is 3.8 volt and 750 farad. Now I try to convert that in watt hours. So if I found the right formula, I'm not sure. It's voltage times farad divided by 3600 gives amp hours, and that's probably 0.8 amp hours. I don't know if that formula is actually correct. That would give us 3 watt hours. Now that sounds not like much, but it means with a 3 watt device you can use it for 1 hour. Of course we have a 40 watt soldering iron, so that goes for a couple of minutes. But if you just think about how many times you are actually heating and soldering, a couple of minutes is just right. And every time when you put it back to the cradle here, it will charge up, and it charges very fast because it's a supercapacitor. Yeah. How about that thing? Let me see. I haven't had a look inside this, but I think it's probably not that easy. I don't see any screws. Maybe they are hidden underneath the feet. That's something they like to do. Yes, exactly. That's the thing. So the problem is to get these feet off without damaging the double-sided tape. So that one went a little bit better. Okay. Ooh, that's a thick piece of rubber. Okay, another screw, of course. Yeah, I always found the screws. No worries. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes. And they are all the same length. That's okay, that's good. I hate it when all 4 screws are different. Okay, yeah, there is not much inside, but yeah, now you can clearly see it's actually aluminium. Where did that come from? Didn't pay any attention. Oh, that's that's cute. Antenna for Bluetooth. A pigtail. We have the power input here. So that's the PCB with the display and the buttons, of course. And the flat cable here goes to the charging connector. Okay. Well, and otherwise there is the USB part here where the power comes in. Couple of capacitors. Where is the DC converter? Well, maybe here there's some coils and analog parts. Yeah, and then of course a microprocessor, and that's probably where's the antenna going. Oh, it goes directly into that chip. Or is this a microprocessor? I can't read the type, but yeah, that's about it. So you have a base and you have an aluminium case. Oh, I see where this part is going. It must be here. Okay, that's great. And the other great part is you can replace that single part. So in case you're dropping solder to this surface, it's replaceable. I don't know if you get this as a spare part, but hey, anyway, it could. Or at least you can turn it over one time and bring the shiny side up again. By the way, they say in the manual you shouldn't insert the tip like so, or the entire soldering iron. You should insert it like so and then connect it. Because I think, and that's probably a good idea, if you have thin soldering, yes, soldering tin, well, you have stuff on your soldering iron and you touch these contacts, well, you will solder these contacts, you will plate it with solder instead of gold, and that's certainly not good. So be careful not to touch this part with the hot tip, and you're safe and everything works fine. Okay, let's put it together again. Okay, everything together again. I noticed that as soon as you put the pen here inside the cradle, it goes down to 150 degrees. That's what I set as the preheat temperature. Okay, so it goes into the preheat mode. You can set that, of course, a little bit higher, then it takes a little bit less time to heat up. And as soon as you take it away, it goes up to the set voltage of 310. Yes, we already have that. So let's see how this actually solders. I have here 2 old boards. Okay. You can also see the power level. You can see how much it actually is heating. And of course, it almost never heats with the full power, because that's not really necessary. Yeah, it's probably a bit a stupid board here to try. But yeah, yes, it works. Keeps the temperature stable. Okay. Well, okay. Let's try something different. There is a little fuse here on that board. A tiny SMD fuse. We still have full power on the capacitor. So maybe I need 2 of these to remove that. Can we do that? Maybe I need a little, no, it moves. Yes, now it's gone. Okay, yes. And that with only 310 degrees. We can go up. How high can we go? 400. Okay, that's the maximum. It's a bit much. Let's go 350. Oh, it's already, okay, it has already taken that 400 from before, so now we are already on 350. Let's see if that works better. Let's give it some real solder, not this lead-free rubbish. Yeah, that works way better. So 310 is a little bit low for this SMD application. How about, can we remove a chip? I have to check if I'm still on camera. Let's try to remove that, give it plenty of solder. I admit that's probably not the right tool to do so, because the right tool, oh yes, pretty nice. The right tool would be a hot air gun, but actually I don't have one here. So let me try some solder wick. That's That's always a bit difficult if you don't have enough heat, but this seems to be absolutely no problem. And probably I will order a larger tip, because this one is very, very sharp, but yes, for SMD or so. Yeah. And 1, 2, 3. Does it power down? No. Sometimes it works. Beep, beep, beep. Okay. Maybe I'm a little bit too fast with these 3 pressings. Okay. That's certainly a nice little device. And by the way, I forgot to mention, it's Miniware or Miniware. I hope you can see that. And it's the model TS1C, just if you're interested. Okay, I think that's enough for today. Thanks for watching.